and welcome to today's 10 Minutes with Dr. Marc Halpern. That's me, and I'm honored to share some time with all of you today. Today I'm going to be talking about Ayurveda and the management of anxiety. Anxiety is a tremendous and very common problem for so many people. And there are many people who suffer from a variety of kinds of anxiety. There's what's called general anxiety disorder, which is the broad name really for chronic anxiety. But people also have types of anxiety that don't fall into that category. Types of anxiety like social anxiety disorder or various phobias that people have. So if we look at the number of people that actually suffer from some kind of anxiety in a year, there are varying statistics on it, but it's roughly about 20% of the population is experiencing some form of anxiety that is deeply impacting their life every year. That's about 1 in every 5 individuals, and that should give you an idea of just what a challenge anxiety is, how common it is, and why it's so important to have Ayurvedic tools in order to manage anxiety. When we look at our lives, we all want to be happy. We all want to be content. We all want to have inner peace. Yet, 1 out of 5 people are suffering from a significant form of anxiety. And so there's a great compromise in the well being of society as a result of this condition. And Ayurveda provides the understanding and the tools in order to help people to be able to manage the anxiety they have and even prevent and treat the anxiety that they have. Anxiety manifests in many ways in individuals. And so, one of the ways that anxiety tends to manifest in people is through worries and through fears. And so, when we worry, our mind is going on and on and on, and it seems as though we can't control it. It's drifting toward subjects that we don't necessarily want to face or we don't want to process. Sometimes they seem logical that we would worry about things, but a lot of times they're not logical. It's not about logic, it's really about emotion. And there may not be a rational reason why a person is experiencing anxiety. Sometimes it shows up for people in an inability to sleep. And so there are 2 different kinds of sleep challenges. There's the problem falling asleep, and then there's early morning awakening when people wake up at 3, 4 in the morning and their mind is perseverating on something, it's worrying about something. When we do not deal effectively with the anxieties we have, we may fall asleep okay, but in the middle of the night when everything starts to quiet down, the anxiety level rises, and that's what wakes a person up and the mind begins to become very active. It's harder to control the mind at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning when you're in bed than it is to distract yourself during the course of the day, which is what a lot of people do. We all have a lot on our minds, and people with anxiety become very effective at distracting themselves from that which is moving around their mind. There's other symptoms too of anxiety. There's increased heart rates and irregular heart rates in individuals who have anxiety. Some people sweat a lot because of the anxiety that they have, and some people react to the anxiety by not wanting to be around other people because being around other people could reveal their anxiety and they don't want people to know how anxious they are. And well, sometimes it's a social phobia, that's part of it too. And so, one of the symptoms of anxiety can also be to become more reclusive. So, this is how people experience anxiety in their lives. Let's look at how Ayurveda understands it. Ayurveda understands that anxiety is primarily a disorder of Vata dosha. Vata dosha is the dosha that is responsible for movement in the body and movement in the mind. And when movement of the mind cannot be controlled, well, then this is a Vata disorder, and this results in anxiety, in worries, and in fears in individuals. Ayurveda also understands that there are subtle energies in the body called prana, tejas, and ojas. And I've done many videos on this subject as well, and you can learn more about it by searching our videos on each of those topics, prana, tejas, and ojas. Prana is a subtle form of vata that is the life energy that moves through our body. During anxiety, this energy is too high. This is related to vata dosha, but it's causing prana to become too high. And when the prana is too high, It's difficult to sit still. It's difficult to keep the mind calm. There is an agitation that is present within each individual. And this is what we talk about when we mean anxiety. There is an inner agitation. It's not easy to control it when prana is very high. It's not easy to distract ourselves when prana is very high. We feel that anxiety all the time. And if we are successful with distracting ourselves, then in the middle of the night, it can come out and wake us up. So it becomes very important to learn how to control vata dosha and to learn how to reduce the prana that is circulating through our mind and through our subtle body in order to control the anxiety. Now, in addition to prana being too high, ojas is too low. Ojas is what stabilizes prana. It's actually what stabilizes the physiology of our body and the physiology of our mind. When ojas is too low, our biochemistry goes off. When ojas is too low, that disturbance in biochemistry from a Western perspective is what we would call in Ayurveda this disturbance in prana, this increase in prana. So we have two goals then in the management of anxiety in Ayurveda. One is to lower vata dosha, which is also lowering your prana, but the other is raising ojas, which is going to increase your stability and also increase your ability to resist stress. Ojas gives us the ability to endure the stresses of our lives, and so they wash off us just like water washes off of a raincoat. And so ojas is your protector, and prana is the life energy of your body. All right. So how do we do this from an Ayurvedic perspective? Well, in order to pacify prana and pacify vata dosha, we need to live a certain lifestyle, and it's helpful also to follow a certain diet. First of all, a lifestyle that has more routine in it is very, very beneficial. And so not a lot of unknowns to show up in a person's life. But the way this can work with you and that you can control is to wake up at the same time every day, even if you don't sleep well. Go to bed at the same time every night, even if it takes a while to fall asleep. Get into the routine and your body will begin to adapt and adjust. In addition, eat at the same times every day. Have breakfast, have lunch, and have dinner, and if necessary, have a healthy snack in between your breakfast and your lunch and between your lunch and your dinner. So as many as 5 meals per day can help to balance that vata dosha and reduce the excess prana. In fact, when we don't eat or we skip meals, prana goes up, and this causes more anxiety. All right, so regular meals, eat something every 3 hours. That's very beneficial. In addition, those meals should be heavier. So heavier foods do two things. First of all, they ground vata, they reduce prana. They also build ojas. That's very important. Now, when you think about heavy foods, you have to realize that what we mean by a heavy food is not to overeat. We don't mean junk food, but we mean heavy, nourishing foods, those comfort foods. Now, by comfort food, I don't mean deep fried foods that are not very healthy, but I mean whole grains, and I mean more milk and heavier foods like nuts. These same foods that are heavier and grounding for vata can be difficult to digest. So it's essential that we take care of our agni, or our digestive power. We have to digest them properly. If we digest them properly, we will balance the vata dosha. So we want to make sure that we follow the proper diet, and we want to make sure that we follow the proper lifestyle. Now, in addition to those tips, you can also practice a technique called Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is a conscious form of deep relaxation that'll teach you how to manage the prana in your body. It's a guided meditation that takes you deep within, slows down the mind, and relaxes the body, and restores your energy and returns you to your sense of self. It's when you return to your sense of self that you wake up and you go, oh, that's right, that's who I am. That's me without anxiety. And you want to repeat that often, sometimes once or twice per day. And this will really, really help your level of anxiety. And so these are just a few tips that you can utilize in order to reduce anxiety and to understand it from an Ayurvedic perspective. If you'd like to know more about anxiety, I've prepared for you a longer video that you can watch. So take a look for the link in this video and follow that link, and you'll be able to watch a full program on managing and reducing anxiety through Ayurveda. Many blessings to you on your healing journey. Know that you can heal from anxiety. It does not have to run your life. If you practice Ayurveda and you practice yoga and you do the things that I ask you to do, I absolutely guarantee you that you will see a lower level of anxiety in your life and therefore a greater level of contentment. Many blessings on your healing journey. Take care of yourself. Be well, be kind, be loved. Namaste.